Hey guys, how's it going? Scott Devine here from scottsbasslessons.com, and I'm without the bass today. I feel naked. But I seriously do feel a bit naked. It's a bit weird. I imagine this is what it's like, being on stage without a bass. Quite uncomfortable. But anyway, I'm rocking it with the books today. I get a ton of questions asking, what is a real book? Okay, it's something that I talk a lot about. I recommend that people that are just getting into jazz get a real book. And I recommend that people do get into jazz to learn walking bass lines, because it is one of the fundamental things that you can work on your bass to get your fingerboard knowledge and your playing together. Okay, so if you're a bass player and you really want to master the fingerboard and the fretboard, you should be working on walking bass lines, whether you are a jazz fan or not. Okay, to really master the fingerboard, you need to be able to do that. And it is, if you watch any player who's really mastered the fingerboard and has great knowledge of what they're doing over the fingerboard, trust me, they will have studied walking bass lines. So you should be studying walking bass lines. And with that, when somebody is studying walking bass lines, what do I recommend they get? A real book. And I get a ton of questions asking, well, what is this real book? Well, the truth of the matter is there's actually a few different real books. I'm going to tell you what I recommend and which ones you should get. And but the history behind it is, like, way back in the day, there used to be these things called fake books, which were big fat books like this, or notebooks, full of tunes, generally like jazz standard type things, and the chords were, they were okay. A lot of them were wrong and stuff like that. But at some point, I think, now I could be spreading vicious rumours here, but a group of Berkeley students got together and got one of the fake books and essentially created what was first called the real book. And they actually used to be illegal. I can remember having a conversation with Dave Swift, who plays for the Jules Holland Orchestra over here in the UK. And he was doing, when he first started out, he was doing the cruise farm on the QE2, I think it was, from Southampton to New York. And he said, I can remember meeting a guy on a corner when he was over there and giving him some money. The guy disappeared off and then came back with a brown paper bag and a real book in it, because they were illegal, because they weren't paying any royalties or anything like that to the guys that had actually written the tunes. But nowadays they are legal. You can buy them online, Amazon, and all these sort of like fancy bookshops, and without the fear of being arrested for loving jazz or wanting to learn walking bass lines. Okay, so they, you can get them in, pretty much any music bookstore. They'll know exactly what you're looking for. It is worth mentioning that you should be looking for the C version or the bass clef version. Okay, so the C version is obviously for C instruments like keys and guitar and bass. You don't want like B flat, the B flat version for tenors, or E flat for alto and stuff like that, because, it'll be all crazy. Anyway, so in terms of like transposition, we'll talk about that at another time. But what is the real book? Well, in essence, it's just a big fat book full of jazz standards and jazz type tunes. So it could be more funky stuff, and I'm thinking like Chameleon by Herbie Hancock and stuff like that. It's full of them, and generally they just have the chords. I'll show you. Let me just find a tune that we know. Oh, Butterfly's a nice tune. There you go, Herbie Hancock. So generally they've got the melody and they've got the chords, and it gives you the ability to turn up a gig with your real book, like jam session or something like that. Somebody calls a tune, if you don't know it, no sweat, because you've got your real book. You just open it up, and there's so many tunes in here. It's insane. Now, there is a little bit of stigma attached to it, and people say, don't be a real book player, okay? And I get that. What those guys are saying is, don't use the real book as a crutch to, so you don't learn any tunes. You want to be learning, really, if you want to get into jazz and just, to further your musicianship, you should be working on your repertoire and memorizing a lot of tunes. But for those beginner to intermediate players, real books are really, really great, man. They're really good because it's just great to have in your toolkit. I always take it to, if I'm doing sort of like a jam session or something like that, I'm always going to have my real book with me, just in case somebody calls a tune and I don't know it and I don't want to scratch around and lug it around the first sort of like few times around the tune and then kind of then get to grips with it as we go along. So they are really, really useful. In terms of, and I should say as well, you need to be able to learn, or you need to be able to read charts. And this isn't music. I'll show you bye baby. Let me show you another one. Blue in green, okay? So if you take something like blue in green, like here, as a bass player, generally we're just looking at the chords. The melody is for the melody instrument, okay? So we're just looking at the chords, but you need to be able to read this. You need to know what these chord signatures, the chord symbols are, like G minor 7, A7 sharp 9, D minor 7, D flat 7 with a flat 5 to a C minor to an F7 flat 9. You need to know how to read a chord chart on the fly. Okay, it is an absolutely invaluable skill to have. Okay, and as a bass player, if you're really trying to push your bass playing to the next level, you need to be able to do that. It's not like reading music where, should I read music or should I not? I hear that question all the time. Should I read music or should I not? Now, reading music is a great skill, okay? But I know great bass players that don't read music. But all of them read charts. All of them read charts to a certain extent. You need to be able to read charts. If you're an Academy member, just a few weeks ago, we did release a full course reading charts survival guide, okay? It's like 90 minutes or 2 hours long or something, just on how to read charts. It's super important. So if you are an Academy member, make sure you go to the course library within the Academy and check that out and soak that stuff up. If you're not an Academy member, make sure you go and get your 14-day free trial. The link's below. Not only do you get access to that course, but all of the other courses and all our live seminars and the seminar archive and all that kind of stuff. So go check that out. Link's below if you're looking on YouTube, and link will be somewhere on this page if you're on Scott's Bass Lessons. And you can see how much I've used this. Like literally pages have come out. Like I've just got all these pages that have fallen out because I've used it that much. It's a really, really invaluable tool to have in your gig bag, and a really, really great tool to have in your bass, bass skills, being able to read charts. Now, the ones that I would recommend, the first one is this. If I had to get any real book, it would be this one. Well, actually, this is the 6th edition. I'd probably get the 5th edition because there's some tunes missing out of the 6th edition that aren't there, that should be really, but for some reason they're not. So I'd go with the 5th edition if you can get it, but if not, 6th edition is really, really great. You can obviously, I'm sure you can download these online, guys, but, and this comes with a huge but, you don't want to download it. You want the actual thing because you want to be taking it to jam sessions. You want to be taking it to gigs. And on top of that, it's great for harmonic analysis. Something that we should all be doing is, picking a tune. Let's say, let's take something that, everybody knows. Oh, that's Alfie. What's it all about, Alfie? Okay, Burt Bacharach. So you want to be taking something like Alfie and you want to be working through it and analysing the harmony. Okay, so it's a C major going to an A minor, going to a D minor 7, going to a G7. So it's a 1, 6, 2, 5, 1, 1, 6, the 2, 6, 6, and then going to the minor. So 5 going to the minor. It's like really important to get this stuff down. So you need to be making notes on it as well. So not only is it for doing gigs, it's also great to sit at home and do your harmonic analysis. Look, I'm writing out rhythms on the front. I've got like a 1, 6, 2, 5. I've got, I don't know what I've got. There's notes all the way through this. But this one is a really, really great one to get started with, the real book. And I think this one is by Chuck Scher. Chuck Scher, I think, that one. The cover always looks the same, so, that's what it looks like. And the other one that I'd recommend getting is this one with no cover. But this is the Hal Leonard. Let me just check that. It is Hal Leonard. Yeah, it's the Hal Leonard, and it's called The New Real Book, okay? So that's how to differentiate between the two. That's called The Real Book, and this is called The New Real Book. It's got loads of cool tunes in it. There's a few more fusion-y type, funk type tunes in this one. It's a little nicer written, I suppose. It's the typography is really clean. and there's mistakes in some of them, but there's mistakes in probably more in that one than this one. But they're absolutely easily get around, But this is like the typography is nice, and So, but me personally, I'd probably have both. Great tune as well. Anthropology, rhythm changes, right? Do you know this? You need to. It's a really, really great tune. So that's the two real books, and you can also get stuff like this, the Latin real book, which is a really, again, a really cool. Just look at this, man. Look at this. All this stuff, man. You can get this in your bands that you're jamming with and get this stuff down. It's just an absolutely invaluable tool to have. I obviously haven't used this one as much as these ones with no covers that are falling to bits. But I have used this, and it's really great as well. Okay, guys, so if you are wanting to get into jazz or into walking bass lines, which hopefully you are because you're wanting to master the fingerboard, check out the real books. Get a real book. Don't download it, just get a paper one so you can, you can write on it and make notes and all those shenanigans, because it'll really, really benefit you in the long run. And it's something that I've had, I've bought these, I think that this one here, this is actually my second one. The other one just died. It literally fell to bits. But, they last a good 10 years. Even if you're gigging a lot, they last quite a while. But get one, and trust me, it's going to be a huge, it'll have a huge impact on your playing, especially if you go into jam sessions and things like that, which you should be. And reading charts as well, which you should be. All bass players, all musicians, whether you've decided to read notation or not, okay, that's, by the by, but you definitely need to be able to read charts and write charts, and understand how to navigate them and the geography as you go around the chart. So if you are an Academy member, as I mentioned before, we've just uploaded a huge course specifically on how to read charts and navigate around them and all those shenanigans. That's in the course library over at scottsbasslessons.com. If you're not already a member, make sure you grab your free 14-day trial. Just take it for a test drive, come and hang out, say hello to me, come on some of the live calls that we do all the time. I'd absolutely love to see you. Other than that, I think that's it. Is that us? Are we done? We're done. Let's cut it. Right, take it easy, guys. I'll see you in the shed. Bye.